Hey guys, this is Maker of Beauty. I'm trying to go live with doing my petal number 12, which is a fun petal. It's going to take me a few minutes to get set up and then I'm going to get going with my tutorial. So just hang on there. Literally few minutes. Let's see. Oh, okay, I am live now. And I'm just going to I'm just going to share in a few more groups. And then I'm going to get going with the actual demonstration itself. Okay, and one more. Okay, so now I'm gonna hop back to my own page to see what my live video is doing. Okay, so now I'm gonna hop back. Okay, so I'm going to start. If people joining it in, and great. If not, I will turn this into the YouTube tutorial later on and share with groups that way. Any case, so I am making my wonderful tutorial for a wonderful petal number 12. The petal I've already cut it out. Actually, I'm gonna need a couple more. So at some point you will see like the basic shape of the petal, but I already put together one flower using it this morning, and I'm gonna put two more. And the wonderful part about this petal is that you can use one size of the petal to create one flower. So you don't need to have large, medium, and small. Like this flower was created using one size of petal, from the large to the small. And at the end, it had given me about 12 inches. So this is something that I try to adapt with all of my templates to help people to save time on cutting and keeping a track of all different sizes. So the way I had styled this particular flower, I bended the petal in the middle. Originally it came just side to side, right? And give it a bit of the line right in here. I don't recommend scoring it with your scoring tool or pressing too hard, because then the line will be too sharp and I just don't think it has like the best look. And then I gently curled a little bit of a side, just like literally, just a slight bend. And you guys can literally see it. That was my small size. And then if I flip it, I'll put it this way, you can see it, it was the same size. So with the template 12, all you have to do is to set your base to be 1 inch bigger than your petal. So my petal is 5" and my base is a 6" in diameter, from whichever way you do it. So I'm gonna put this one away, and I'm going to continue on with the, oh, hi Dale. Thanks for joining. It's always fun. Feel free to share with others. Any case, so I'm gonna take a second to talk about my bases. I make sure that my base is as sturdy as possible. So I use this pads from Michael's that sells it. You know, you can also use the boxes for the cakes, and you know, I actually glue a couple of them together. The reason to that is it helps with the sturdiness of the flower. Like if you just take the 65 lb weight, right, the 65 pound paper weight, the base is going to be pretty floppy. Like if you were to hold it, your flower at the end, and flop it, it would just, like, you know, start bend at different angles. But because my base is so sturdy, right, the weight of it makes the flower to be quite sturdy as well. And notice that I didn't cover my base in the same color. The reason to that, this is going to be for the picture frame, where the flower is going to be looking this way. All of the imperfections, like, you know, the different color of the base, it's not going to be visible. And so I don't care to spend more paper to go over this base to cover it so it's all one color. But if I was to make this for you know, something to put on the wall, that I would definitely try to cover all of those imperfections. So without any further ado, I'm going to show you how pretty much style a similar flower, right, where the count of the petals is the same, but I'm styling the petal itself differently. So this one is still 5 inches, the base is 6 inches, and it's still same petal as this one. The only difference is that I'm simply overlapping and I'm curling it backwards. And so what I'm going to be doing it is as follows. Let me just bring my glue gun on the other side. Okay, so this is going to be 3 layers of 6 petals each. So you set your 1 petal here, and the second petal right across. That helps you with your centering it, right? Don't worry about leaving the space to where glue in and tuck it in, because it's not going to come into place at all until you get to your last petal. So now this one is just, you know, position it proportionate to the space that you have. Oops, I just grabbed the wrong set of petals. Okay, this one. I'm working with a curled one. You know, I give a generous amount. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of a gap. Don't worry about it. It's all gonna be okay at the end. So because I have those 2 first petals right across each other, right, it's pretty easy for me to see where I need to be going along with the next petal. In total, it's going to give you 16 petals. This is 3 layers of 6 petals each. If you want to make it fluffier, you can definitely introduce 1 more layer, but I tend to like fluffy centers, and so I'm not gonna do that. All right, now I'm starting on my second layer of my 6 petals, right? And so this is just gonna be glued on right in between this. And the key is going to be not to bring it too low, but bring it pretty high up in here so it covers up nicely that white gap that I have in between those 2 petals. So generous amount of a glue to make sure that it has a pretty good stabilization, and it goes right in between. Again, we don't need to worry about it where we glue just one side of the petal, because there will be no tucking in here. There is a lot of real estate space to work with right now. And I know that I'm missing a couple of the petals for these flowers, so I will show you how this petal is actually one of the few of mine that is very easy to cut by hand, because in general I tend to have very fancy grooves and tops for my flowers that I find would be very difficult with the by hand, but you know, I prefer machine for that. Okay, as you guys can see, it was quite a bit of a real estate space. All right, so I'm almost done with my second layer, and I'm going to be very shortly moving on to my last one. Okay, so with this one, definitely leave one side untucked. What I mean is that, you know, don't glue this side of it, because you will probably have to tuck it in, and if you tuck the petal under, it just gives you so much better look. Just do it, you know, glue the other side, and you glue it on the side that you're going to be moving on in. So I'm doing it to the left, so I'm gluing it on the right. I think I said it right, but you guys can see it. This doesn't have glue, this one has, and it still comes right in between. And as you can see, it's still same petal, same size, right? And there is no need to reduce your petals in between by 1 inch. And just to let you know, guys, I know there are quite a bit of it, you know, this is pretty simple petal. I cannot vouch that it would work if you have same shape of the petal or something similar, because I don't know what the proportions are. Mine, I know what my slope should be, and it works my petal. So I'm going to already prepped. So here I traced it, right, because it's 5 inches. I just folded the paper in 4 to save on the time. You know, if I needed more, I would actually stack a whole bunch of them and cut maybe like even, you know, 3 sheets of paper at the same time. If you are cutting by hand, definitely invest in a good scissors. It helps with getting a very nice straight line. I am not very good with my cutting skills, but okay. So here's the 4 remaining petals that I was missing. I'm actually going to style it with you. So just doing my slit in the middle, pretty high up, like not exactly to the middle, but almost there. And then, you know, anything round that you have. I'm doing it on off the table, just so that you are able to see it, but you know, if you needed to do it on a table, then you would just roll it that way. Okay. So it's a simple overlap. If you guys have any questions, now probably is a good time, because I'm just doing my petals and I can take a look at the questions. And actually have the time to answer them. Okay, so my remaining 4 petals are done. I'm just gonna go back to my flower. And quickly finish up in here. So again, just continuing it on, doing it right in between. So what I like about this petal is that, you know, because you can adjust it, because you can curl it in so many different ways and get several different looking flowers, right? Okay, and here's the last one. It can save on time greatly for you. So I'm just gonna tuck this in nicely so it has that nice clean look. And then I'm gonna go back under and just give a generous dab of a glue. So, and there you guys have it. It is your medium size flower that you were able to make with just one size petal. I'm going to get my measuring. And I'll show it to you. So this is about 12 inches and some. This one is obviously a little bit bigger, right? Because there is no curling of the petal under. So this one is, you know, almost 14. Oh, nope, hold on. It's about 13 inches or so. So, you know, what I love about this is, of course, that I don't have to work very hard to keep a track of my sizes and remember that I already cut 6 medium and I need 6 large. It's just, you know, cut as many as you need to. And even if you didn't cut enough, you know, you can just quickly trace it on a paper and cut it. And I want to show you also that, you know, because we have that heavy base, and actually not the heaviest, right? Like as I shake the flour, it's pretty sturdy. Like there is no bending it anywhere. And if you feel that, you know, it could still be like sturdier, then all you do is you just go in under the petals, like at random places, and you give a little bit more of a glue to make it a little bit more secure. Now, you definitely have enough real estate space where you can introduce, you know, another petal. You know, if you wanted to. I'm just gonna grab the petal that I'm making for another flower and, you know, finish it off this way. I'm not gonna do it because I know that I want a fluffy center, so I need a real estate space for that. But I do wanna say that if you have gotten to this point and you want to introduce one more layer, that layer needs to be reduced. You cannot use the 5-inch petal anymore. This is a 5-inch petal, right? Because this is just too much overlap. It will be very difficult to manipulate and make it look attractive. You know, it's starting to stick out too much. So definitely reduce at that point. So, all right, so we're done with this one. I'm gonna set this aside and I'm going to move on to the last one. So again, I'm working with the same petal. And I'm not even doing anything to this one in terms of styling it in. I need my base. I already grabbed my, I already prepped my paper for it. So I'm just gonna take my bowl. I know it's my Afico 6 inches. So I'm just going to get my circle. Let me just make sure that I can see what I did there. I definitely did. I highly recommend that if you're gonna be tracing it, you know, definitely trace it with the white pen. That way there's no marks on the paper, or use your scoring tool for that. So I'm going to, oh, hi Samuel. Or should I say, alaikum salam. All right, so here's my circle. And actually it's gonna give me 2 bases, which is great because I need to make more flowers. All right, so I'm gonna take this 2 aside. And I just general dab of a glue everywhere. And you know, if you were to make like a very large flower, 24 inches and up, I definitely would do all 4 of those layers together to give it more of a weight to it. But actually probably at that point I would just go and get the dollar store foam board and I would just use that to make my circles. You get pretty good amount of a decent amount of the bases from that. Okay, so I'm still working with the same 6-inch base. Thank you, Kanika, I appreciate it. But the petal itself is 4.5 inches, right? And now I'm going to be doing 8 petals per layer, not the 6 as I had done with my 2 previous ones, right? And I'm going to be alternating these 2 colors to, you know, spice things up. So there is a chance that I might have to tuck the petal in, and so, right, I'm only on one side, so I have the space to tuck it in. And you know, guys, sometimes I do make like I forget to leave the unglued side on my petal, and so all I do is just off and it and reglue it again. And if you work with material, a lot of those changes that you did, you know, can be hidden. So that's a nice part about it. And here you can get very creative because we're working with even numbers. Like you could do 4 petals same color on this side, then you do 4 petals of a different color on this side, and then on the next layer you flip it. You know, I'm gonna be alternating, but I'm just, you know, putting it out options you guys have. So I will later on go and I will write out my proportions. I don't really freestyle with the sizing so much. All of it is actually calculated to make sure that it's working. Okay, so I want to make sure that my spacing here is, because I kind of feel that, let me just eye it, guys. I think I might be, yep, I think it should be fine. Okay. So this flower, even though it's taking more petals, it's going to be smaller than the others. And the reason to that is, you know, my petal right off the bat is 4.5 inches, which is already smaller. But then also, you know, when you do the slit, like that takes away from the real estate space as well. And I feel like I need to trim this a little bit. I'm not sure that I feel like I have a little bit too much of the real estate space. So I'm just gonna trim a little bit. Okay, that's looking much better to me. And I'm just gonna add my remaining 4 petals. Let's see, definitely. Yep, perfect. Okay, so looks like my base should actually probably have been 5.5 inches instead of the 6 inches. So that's a note for myself to make an adjustment. Now it looks just right. You know, another way to control for that would have been leave more space between the petals instead of having them so close to each other. So, you know, like that's another option. But I really wanted them to be touching as much as possible. You know, guys, there is a lot of creativity with the flowers, but then a lot of it is actually comes down to your math calculations. Okay, so we have our first layer, and I'm gonna grab my measuring tape so we can measure it, and that's probably about 10 inches. Okay, it's 10.5 inch. And now I'm gonna be layering it at a still same petal, right? And it's just gonna be coming in between. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing the 3rd layer. I might not. It really depends on what the flower looks like when I get to the end. I'm not someone who likes having, like, you know, the petals all the way until the edge. I mean, some flowers it looks great, but okay. And so it's gonna be 2nd layer of 8 petals, and it's back to, you know, putting your next petal in between. Okay. and I just need a couple more and I will be done. And for this one, what I'll probably end up doing, I will end up doing, you know, a fluffy center that has combination of both of these colors, and then maybe finish it off with a small layered flower on the top of it. So I'm gonna need one flower here, and then the last one is gonna be tucked in. Let me just make sure that I'm grabbing the right one. Now I'm going to gently tuck that in. And there I have it. It is perfectly fitting. And I'm just gonna finish it off with a generous amount of a glue underneath to glue the petal all the way. Okay, so I have a couple of choices, right? I definitely have enough real estate space to continue, but most likely now I will not need 6 flowers. I'm sorry, I will not need 8 flowers. I will only need 6 flowers if I want to continue on with the same petal, right? Another option is to just stop right here and you know, have a big fluffy center. I actually have a couple of fluffy centers around the house. I'm gonna just go quickly grab it. And I almost damaged my glue gun. I ended up pulling it off. Okay, so I'll be right back with the fluffy centers. So as you guys can see it, right, that if I'm gonna go with a fluffy center, then I definitely need to stop right here. But if I'm gonna make smaller center, then I need more flowers. Just to show you different things that you could do. I wouldn't recommend roses because it doesn't quite flow with this particular style, but let me bring the other 2 ones and show you, so that I tend to like something that's fluffy. So this is a look that I'm going go for. Using this one as visual because while I love how fluffy it is, it's a little too fluffy for this flower. You know, I will be reducing it a bit, but not by much. It's not going to be like a tiny center. And that's what it would look like with this. And I'm just gonna grab one other center. This is flowers from my my bowl of flowers. I don't know if you guys can see it underneath of it, but it's not, that's a beautiful part of not having anything glued on. I can just grab things out easily. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. I'm gonna get the... So that's also the look that I love very much. And as you guys can see it, right, that if you're gonna do the combination of this two, introducing another layer of petals would not be a good look whatsoever. So that's for this one. And that's for that one. Any case, if you guys have, so that's kind of it. You know, this is my petal 12. What is it? One size, 3 different flowers, not bad. It'll be out in my Etsy shop sometime this week when I get to making the all of the paperwork that I have to do for the Etsy. If you have any questions, you know, ask me, and you know, thank you for watching my video. All the best, guys. Bye.